A top free agent is headed to AEW. A WWE legend is set for an in-ring return, and the original plans for Ricky Starks' WWE debut have been revealed. Stay tuned for all the deets. So there has been a lot of speculation around this star. They were sort of teased to be becoming a free agent. There was a lot of reports coming out about it, and then they lent into that and confirmed they were becoming a free agent. And then they went further and said that they were set to be testing the waters to see what kind of bites were out there. But according to a report from Fightful Select, former TNA World Champion Josh Alexander is expected to sign with AEW now that he's a free agent. His contract with TNA expired yesterday, and it has been reported by PW Insider as well that he's hired Barry Bloom, and he is, of course, the agent who secured those massive money deals for people like the Bucks, Omega, Hangman, in order to help with his negotiations. So it does feel like he's headed just straight in there. Barry's just going to walk through the door. Tony's going to just throw a figure.
Literally.
High five.
It seems like if a talent wants to go to AEW, they hire Barry Bloom. That seems to be how things go. I'm actually surprised I'm surprised and not surprised about him going to AEW. I'm surprised on one hand because he seemed like it was pretty set WWE wanted him. Yeah. But on the other hand, he feels like a missing piece to the puzzle in AEW for me as like almost like a Kurt Angle, a legit athlete amongst everyone else that are like professional wrestlers. He feels like a legit athlete, and I would like to see what he does there.
Well, Fightful have reported that those within AEW, near Alexander and his peers in the industry as well, all expect him to sign with AEW if he hasn't already done so, and it's all a big secret. WWE sources reportedly confirmed that they hadn't signed him despite interest in using him last year. But I think you're right in the way that it feels like he could really bring something different to the table at AEW so long as he's utilized in the right way. I think that's the big kicker.
Yes, it's using in the right way. He immediately screams top guy to me, that upper mid card to top guy level that can slot into any of those matches. Him for the Continental Championship if you want to have him in there. There's so many, like him versus Okada is an insane match to think about.
Just align him with Moxley and have him go, I don't like flippy people.
Don't. One of my mates said...
keep forcing the Moxley storyline.
We definitely want more of the Moxley storyline. One of my mates suggested using him in a way that is like a Kurt Angle, the Chad Gable of...
I think that would be too obvious, though. I think
it feels
people
too
draw
obvious.
Too many parallels with it generally because it's like, he wears the headgear and he's got the singlet. But at the same time, like he is obviously an accomplished wrestler in that manner, so it does make sense to kind of lean into it. But I think it needs to be like when he really went and got to the top of TNA, it really did feel like something special, and there were shades of that, but I don't think they lent into it in that quite as full way. I think that if you kind of able to recapture that lightning in a bottle, you'd be foolish not to go for it. But at the same time, he might have a whole new thing.
He might have a whole new thing. With AEW, you kind of expect them to come in with a character that they've already built. But it could be a completely different angle that they look at this. Either way, I'm very excited to see what Josh Alexander does. Hope he gets a big money deal. He deserves it. He wanted to go and test the free agency waters last year. TNA extended his contract for an entire year. So he's been waiting for this chance for a while, and we're about to see what happens. Hopefully, he's landing in the right spot.
Yeah. And talking about somebody else here who has recently left WWE, speaking on Busted Open Radio, the former Baron Corbin, who now goes by Bishop Dyer, was talking about his departure from WWE, and he said, I don't know why I was cut. Randy and we chatted a little bit, and I believe there's one person that made this decision or influenced this decision, and that's what put me in the position that I'm in now. I'm not going to let that one person control my destiny. Karma will come back on whoever that person is. I'm not putting their name out there because I don't need that negative energy. I'm looking at you, Ava. Could you imagine? Ava Rain. No, it's mental to hear that it could just be one person has kind of poisoned the well there.
Yeah.
I think people always look at me like I've got 5 heads, but I love Baron Corbin.
I love Baron Corbin. So I feel like everyone in wrestling or wrestling fandom has this perception of like, right, okay, look, I admit it, I like Baron Corbin. Then everyone goes, Yeah, I really like Baron Corbin.
Everybody's just too scared.
Everyone's too scared to say it. Baron Corbin was great. Okay, let's get it out there. He was great.
Yeah.
He fit his role fantastically. He did so much good stuff with crap material, and he
did everything that was asked of him.
He did
got
everything.
blamed for the show being bad and everything, and he just stood there and had to take it.
Exactly.
But he still, I mean, like when he became rich and then he was broke, and then
there is so many things that he did in his WWE run that shouldn't have worked, and were likely positioned on him thinking this isn't going to work. And he made it work. It was great. His tag team run with Braun Breaker in NXT was fantastic. I would love to see him back in WWE at some point. But also, I can't wait to see what a Baron Corbin, or now Bishop Dyer, does outside of WWE, because we have never seen that.
No, I'm really, really excited. I think that potentially, knowing what you know in terms of like everything he's done with everything he was given, as we were just saying there, having the freedom, right, of the independents to be able to just go, like, this is kind of where I want to take things. And he's kind of master of his own ship now. So just seeing him completely uninhibited by that.
He can do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants. And I'm quite excited to see what his kind of creative mind is going to be for this Bishop Dyer character.
Yeah, what is Bishop Dyer? Who is he, and how is he different to Baron Corbin? He did say in the same interview, I believe, about if he was to ever come back to WWE, it wouldn't be Baron Corbin. It would be Bishop Dyer that was coming back.
Well, he did say that a bishop in his mind is higher than a baron. And why would you can't poke evolve and then devolve unless they've added that to the game.
You can't do that. You can't do that, apparently, in Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Elimination Chamber news earlier on, but Naomi defeated WWE Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green on last night's SmackDown to qualify for this year's Women's Elimination Chamber in Toronto. She's set to join Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Bayley, with the final spot being confirmed on Raw when Raquel Rodriguez takes on Roxanne Perez.
It's got to be Roxanne, right?
It's got to be Roxanne.
Because she's got the feud with Bayley right now in NXT, and she's making her main roster sort of debut couple months at the moment. She's kind of appearing on screen, but not. But also Raquel's there, and you need the big one in there. And
Alexa's just come back as well, and this is a massive cage, and you've potentially got all the spoopiness that can and potentially go on around her.
Yeah, no, I mean, in terms of who's actually winning, it's a tough one to call. Liv Morgan, maybe, but like
Liv's kind of the most central figure, but I think having a shock win would be interesting.
Yeah,
having somebody kind of a little bit more out of the box.
But just in terms of the Raquel Roxanne, I don't see Raquel being put in that at all. I'd love Roxanne to win. I think it's going to be Liv.
Well, we've got some more rather exciting news that takes me back to my days of yore, don't we, Fraser?
We do indeed. Trish Stratus will be making her in-ring return at Elimination Chamber after she agreed to team up with Tiffany Stratton. I say agreed, she was the one that suggested the idea in the first place. Now, we mentioned earlier that Tiffany Stratton defended her Women's Championship against Nia Jax on last night's SmackDown, ended in a DQ when she was attacked by Candice LeRae and Jax. Trish Stratus got involved, helped her. It didn't quite go successfully, but backstage after that, it was confirmed. Stratus was like, hey, how about Elimination Chamber, Toronto? You and me, we team up and take them down. Tiffany, though, looked absolutely ecstatic, and why wouldn't you be? It's Trish Stratus.
Yeah, she declared it's Tiffy and Trishy time. So I mean, it's going to be a hell of a match.
I love the fact that Tiffany has turned face by just being good. Like people just really like her, so they've gone. Yeah, no, you are a face, but you're the same exact character. Now you're teaming with Trish Stratus, which has to be really, really cool for her. Also, cool to see Trish Stratus back because, I mean, we saw her have a run.
She's not missed a step.
A year and a half, 2 years ago now. She was fantastic.
Yeah, she's in incredible shape. She's still got, like, every part of her skill set. I think that it's essentially,
if anything, she's improved.
Any chance that you can use Trish.
Yeah.
It's never going to go down badly, especially not in Canada. But moving over to NXT now, obviously we had the very exciting debut of Ricky Starks, or the man with no name, on this week's NXT. But Wrestling Observer Newsletter have reported that even prior to the AEW release, WWE had debut plans ready and in place and in mind, and they were kind of certain of what they were going to do with Ricky Starks. He was then reportedly planned to debut in NXT at a major event later on this year. But then following his release this past week, they just kind of went, get in here.
Yeah.
Come on, just get in here.
I find this fascinating, the behind-the-scenes inner workings of like, hey, this guy's at another company, and we know he's going to be coming here as soon as he's free. We've got plans for him already. How much is that plan concrete in their plans?
Well,
and obviously they've managed to make it flexible and change it here, but like, when did they find out Ricky was getting his release so that they could scrape together this new plan?
Well, yeah, I think as well, though, like one of the core tenets of pro wrestling is that plans change. And I think that even if plans were absolutely concrete, they had a whole thing in mind, the second that he becomes available and he pops up there and then, it's a huge moment. It's a massive moment. And if anything, WWE has kind of reiterated over the years, they are all about the moments.
Hey,
so,
anything can happen.
Anything can happen in the World Wrestling
WWE.
Federation. But that is it for your second dose of lovely bumper weekend wrestling news. We may be back later on if anything else breaks, but if not, have a lovely weekend and we'll catch you in a bit.